We are all set.
Thank you. Pursuant to the Code of Virginia, the board discussed personnel matters, student matters, and legal matters during closed session. Matters discussed in closed session have been added to the consent agenda and other parts of the agenda as action and information items. Will members of the board certify the only lawful matters were discussed in closed session, and please answer by roll call.
Mrs. Sobczak,
Yes.
Mr. Goforth,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harrow, Dr. Shores,
Yes.
and Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Thank you.
The VSBA media honor roll. I'm sorry. Why have I started skipping this? Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now the VSBA media honor roll. Dr. Gretz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, this was one of the reasons we asked you to convene this meeting. We always want to participate as we're able in the opportunities provided through our membership in the VSBA. And one of those is, as you know, annually we're asked to nominate individuals for this media honor roll. And this year, we're bringing to you a resolution. It's attached to your agenda where we'd like to recognize Tom Harden for his work over the years as editor of the Southside Sentinel and many years of reporting news about our schools and about education and about our student families and their accomplishments and propagating the great work of the schools throughout the community. So you've done this resolution before. I'm not going to read it to you unless you'd like me to read it on the record, but we wanted to bring this to you, and time is of the essence to get it in order to submit it. And so we wanted to make sure you had an opportunity. It is required that all board members agree on the nomination and vote on it so that we can sign this resolution. And just as soon as you do, we will submit it to the VSBA. And then, as you know, the process is the individual is contacted. Once the VSBA processes their nominations, there'll be a nice presentation awarded to the recipient, and we can do that at a future school board meeting and invite him to be there and to present him with the recognition. So this is just, my recommendation is that you consider and act upon the resolution which submits the nomination to the VSBA.
Is there a motion to approve the VSBA media honor roll resolution regarding Tom Harden?
So moved.
And you know, just real quickly, Madam Chair, I'm so sorry. I'm just noticing that the resolution in here is not correct. It says WHRO. I think we're, with the exception of just substituting that, I just want to make sure everybody knows what they're voting on.
Yes,
We can change that, not a big deal.
right. Tom Harden, yes. And I believe it was second also. Any comments? This is certainly well-deserved. Mr. Harden has been an avid supporter of the school system his entire working at Southside Sentinel.
I agree. I truly respect what he has done for the community, youth basketball. I know he's retired. I've seen him several times now on the golf course, so I'm sure he's having a good time.
All right. All those in favor of this resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Our Bridging Communities update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to talk with Mr. Goforth, who serves on the Board of Control for Bridging Communities. There was a meeting that was held. I wasn't able to attend because I had to be out last week. But following that meeting, there was a decision that Board of Control made that we thought it would be important for you all to know about the decision. And I'll try to summarize it. Mr. Goforth, feel free to add any details or correct anything that I misrepresent. I've been in contact with Julie Lewis, who is the director at Bridging Communities. But essentially, there are 6 divisions that participate in bridging. 4 of the 6, last week, the 4th, made the decision to be fully remote for the start. So 2 of the divisions are still maintaining a hybrid plan. Bridging, needing to be flexible enough to accommodate the plans of all 6 divisions, considered an alternate hybrid plan. Originally, they had an AB hybrid plan that was very similar to the one that we were trying to pursue. And what they did, I think, essentially because so many of the programs require hands-on learning, and so many of the programs require students to get skills for which they will pass certification tests that are important for them for future employment. There was a strong desire to maintain at least a tiny portion of in-person hands-on opportunities for those kids who wanted to do that. So what they entertained and eventually passed, excuse me, was basically taking their former hybrid proposal and cutting it in half. So I'll just use Middlesex as an example. Middlesex students were going to go to Bridging Communities 2 days a week. And so Group A would go 2 days a week, Group B would go 2 days a week, very similar to the one that we were considering. They've cut it in half so that Group A comes on Monday, and then Group B comes on Thursday. The other half of Group A comes on Tuesday, and the other half of Group B comes on the other day. I hope I'm explaining that right. Basically, it just cuts it down from 2 days a week to 1 day a week, and it decreases the size of the class so that they could supplement the remote learning with at least one opportunity for face-to-face instruction and hands-on learning with skills that really need that. This isn't an action item, and Mr. Goforth, nor did I think that there's any reason for us not to support this, but did feel like it was important, since this board voted to make sure that students were doing all remote learning, that you do understand that this decision would allow for the bridging kids to have at least 1 day of in-person learning for that class. And for you to have an opportunity to think about that and discuss it, and to let us know if you don't like it, so that we can know that, and Mr. Goforth would then be in the position to have that conversation with his fellow Board of Control members. Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Goforth? Or?
No, I made the motion. At the time we had the meeting, I think there was 2 or 3 school divisions that had not determined whether they were going to be, virtual or the hybrid model. I too believe that they have to have that hands-on in order to do it. I do not know how much the community college was involved in making this decision, because most of them will get community college credit for what they're doing. I have spoken to high school principal a couple of times. The thing that bothers me the most is the Bridging Communities has sent out information to the students to get back how many of them would need transportation, whether they could get to the high school and meet the bus and so forth. And only 20% of them had responded. That's for the whole Bridging Communities. They forwarded the information to each of the high school, those students that had not responded, so high schools can follow up to see where they go from here. My understanding is that the period of time that they will be there will be a little bit longer than it would be ordinarily. So we might have to have 2 bus drivers if we follow through with this. Any questions?
As parents, what input have you had from parents?
I can't answer that. I don't know. The original thing that was sent out to the students, I'm sure was shared with the parents, but other than that, I don't know.
I don't know that either.
I did say that Susan Fleet yesterday also told me that the community college and those students that are taking college credit science will have to come in 1 day a week for lab. And and both principals and the bridging communities think they're within phase 1 as far as these, contact, distancing and so forth.
Yeah, it's less than 10 kids on both counts. We just found that out yesterday. Any other questions for us? Any concerns? School divisions will be providing all the transportation. There won't be any students driving themselves.
And so if there are 10 students each day, is that what we're talking about?
It's actually fewer.
Oh, okay. So there's plenty of room on the bus for our students.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're doing the best they can.
Class sizes are 2 to 3 in most cases. There'll never be more than 25 students on site in the center at any one time total. So each class would just have a few kids.
All right. Anything else that we need to talk about? Steve, do you have anybody for public comment?
I do not have anyone on YouTube or Facebook with public comments, nor is there anything in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
Madam Chair, in the absence of public comment, I know that we are going to do a formal recognition in the next board meeting, but just in light of the fact that we're a small community and information will propagate quickly, I did want to just take a moment to officially recognize Greg Harrow for his work with our school division. Greg is going to be resigning his position and people are going to see that. He's going to be helping us with a succession plan to replace him and helping us train that individual. And as that news comes out, again, we're going to do a much more formal recognition in September. And we'll invite him to be a part of that at that time. But just because we know people are going to see it, I thought it was important that we just simply say that we are aware of that information, and just to say to you, Greg, if you're on there, that you have been an invaluable member of this team and somebody who we are going to dearly. And we certainly look forward to a continued partnership with you as a community member and as a parent and as a colleague in another school division. And I'll just leave it at that unless any other board members or anybody wants to chime in prior to our more formal recognition in a couple of weeks.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We will make sure that at the recognition in September that we will have fine things to say.
I look forward to that, Claudia.
Okay.
The fact that I used to chew gum in your homeroom class and all that.
Oh, goodness. I can think of a roast that would be appropriate, but maybe not at a school board meeting.
I am overly thankful. I'll talk more about that later.
All right, if there's nothing else to come before the group, shall we adjourn or go into recess until our meeting in September? What's the favor of the group?
I move we adjourn.
And I'll take one of those as a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for getting together for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. All right.